What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to start cleaning up the engine bay. We are going to get some of these harnesses moved out of the way, get the radiator out and the AC condenser. We're going to be replacing both of those. If you guys are new to the channel, what we're doing is we're swapping in a Gen 1 Coyote and a T56 6-speed into a New Edge Mustang. And then we're going to be doing, after we finish the build, we're going to be going on a 1,300-ish mile road trip with another channel. He's doing an LS swap, and we're gonna just see how this thing does, see how it compares to an LS swapped vehicle, about the same weight. So stay tuned for that, but yeah, let's get into it. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna be doing another unboxing. There's a few more parts to come for this build, so stay tuned for all of that, guys. All right, first things first, we need to get this trans harness out of here. This trans harness is just kind of in the way, but also it was for the T45 5-speed that came in this car. We are going to be swapping in, like I said, a T56 6-speed. So there's probably going to be differences in this. I know for sure the main difference is going to be that this trans had a reverse lockout, which was electronically controlled. That's how the 0304 Cobras were. This T45 5-speed did not have that, so we're either gonna have to wire the reverse lockout into the brake switch, or we're gonna have to figure something else out, but that'll be in a future video. But for now, we just want to get this thing out of here, which is just those two connectors right there. So yeah, let's get to it. There's that harness. All right, guys, next up, we're going to be removing the starter harness. It goes from your main battery terminals to your starter, and then also had a main ground to the engine. We're going to be removing it because we're going to do a battery relocation in a coming video. We're going to put it in the trunk. We're going to order a whole new box and all new cables and everything. Partially because we want a little bit more weight distribution, get a little bit more weight off of the front tires, put it over the rear tires where we need the traction. But also the main reason is because we need to mount the power steering reservoir somewhere. The factory location for a 4.6 was like right here onto the 4.6. So ease of just where all the lines end up, we're just going to put it over here. You don't have to, but that's where I'm going to put it. The Coyote never came with hydraulic power steering. It came in 11 and up Mustangs and F-150s. Those all had electronic power steering, so they never needed a location for a power steering reservoir. So we're going to end up having to mount that somewhere else, not on the engine like it was on the 4.6. But also because all the 11 and up Mustangs and F-150s, their intake boxes were all on the driver's side. So for ease of just ordering a new intake in the future, I know it's not going to be that hard to try and get it put on the passenger side. I'm sure they sell kits and everything, but I just want to be able to jump on there, order an intake for an 11 Mustang and have it come out over here. So that's why we're going to be removing all this stuff from there. So let's get to it. So first things first, on your fuse box, there is a little plastic piece on the side of it that slides up and down. Underneath of it is where your main battery terminal connects into your fuse box for the main power. It's just got a little nut here. I've already loosened mine. But yeah, to get that removed, you can get the terminal off of there, and then we'll just put this nut back. Next up, there is a little connector on the positive side. It's just a squeeze style. It's a little tricky to get off there, but just gotta squeeze it really hard and it'll pull apart. And then there is a connector down here, right there for ground. Get that off of there. Might use a screwdriver. There's that one. And then next we have a ground right there and right there that connect to the body. Those are both 8mm. there's just 2 clips right here. See it right there, and right there. And then that whole harness will pull right out of there. Now, another reason why we're not going to be reusing this box is because somebody decided to use regular screws. I assume the bolt that used to go here broke at one point in time. This whole block actually used to be mounted over here. That's where the hole actually is. But somebody decided this was a better spot for it. More power to you if this is what you need to do to get your car going, but this will not be on my car. So, but yeah, we need to get this. Looks like there's 2 10s right there, and then there's an 8 down in the box. So we'll start with that 8. And yep, these are 10s. And then the whole battery box will remove out of there. All right, next up, we're going to be removing this radiator. It got damaged on the removal of the 4.6. I was kind of in a rush. There's a really good deal I found on the Coyote. I needed to get the 4.6 out of here. In a future video, I'll be going a little bit more in depth on how this all happened, why I was in a rush, what the whole deal was, and also go over the pricing of everything that I have into the car so far. But yeah, I got damaged on the way out. I wanted to replace it anyways. It doesn't need to be, but I want it to be a little bit bigger. We're gonna be doing a lot of driving with this car, a lot of long distance, different temperatures. I just want to have a little bit more capacity with the radiator. And then also the AC condenser is the original to the car, which is a 99. So it's got plenty of dings and dents on the front of it, and there's no point in me paying to recharge the AC system once I get the Coyote in here and have that thing leak in the near future. So we're just going to replace both of these. So let's get to it. All right, there is an 8mm here and here for these top brackets. And these brackets will just pull off. And the radiator will pick up and out of there. All right, then behind your radiator, in between it and the condenser, is a harness here. Comes in on one side and then kind of like flattens out, keeps it this shape up across the top here, and then comes back out on the other side. There's just 2 clips on each side. We got to pull out of there. This will give us enough room to get that up and out of the way. Next up, there is an 8mm that holds in these little top brackets that hold in the condenser. There's an 8mm on each side, so we'll get those. Now I've already had mine scavenged, but if you still have freon in your system, you need to take it in and get it evacuated. And then there's just 2 nuts that hold in these lines. I've already taken the top line off whenever I went to go remove the 4.6, but we still need to take this bottom one off, which is already loose, and it should just pull off out of my way. And this is free now. And you can pull these brackets, these top brackets off. Once you get those bolts out, to just give you a little bit more clearance on the top, get it past this harness. And then it'll just pick up off of the bottom rubber grommets. right, so now that we got them off, we can see that there is a little bit of like surface rust in here. Nothing major, nothing structural. But before we go putting all this stuff back together, same time we're gonna be repainting stuff like, what's that right there, wherever they had like the intercooler piping and stuff mounted, and then up top here where this nut clip kind of like rubbed away the paint, we're gonna get some factory color paint and then prime this stuff and repaint it, and then I'll be cleaning up some of this rust scaling to just make sure none of this rusts out. This car's really clean. It's a North Carolina car, I believe. It's either North Carolina or South Carolina, I can't remember, but it's a pretty clean car. Underneath there's not really any rust, so I just want to keep it that way, get some of this stuff off, clean it all up, but that'll be in a future video. Now this connector I originally thought was a push tab here. You push down to pull it off, but actually you pull up on it and it'll come out of there. But yeah, and then I need to undo this. Whenever somebody relocated the inlet air temp sensor, they used their own wiring and stuff, and then they just zip tied it to this. So to get this line free, I need to undo this. All right guys, to get these AC lines removed off of there, there is this little retainer spring on the inside. I guess I'd call it a spring, but it sits on the back side of this, and you need to get it pushed up and out of the way. I use some of these. These are like fuel line removers. Use that size right there. You just get it up on this back side like this, and then push up against it, and it pulls that retainer right there up and out of the way, and then you can give it a little bit of just a little twist and pull, and it'll pull right off of there. Just like that. All right guys, we got this engine bay cleaned up a little bit more, looks a lot better. Get some of that stuff that we don't need moved out of the way in preparation for this Coyote to go in. Looks a lot better, but I promised you guys an unboxing in this video, so let's get to it. All right guys, so this is the part we'll be opening up. It is a BBK part, as you can tell. Before I get started, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a disclaimer. I did not pay for this. I got it in a trade deal along with the UPRK member, another part that we're going to be opening up soon, and the Coyote. So I didn't buy this part individually, I traded for it. So I'll go into more detail later on how I acquired all of these parts whenever I go to talk about how much I have into the car and the swap in general. But I just wanted you guys to know I didn't pay for this. So I'm going to give you guys the most honest review I can, because I didn't spend my hard-earned money on this. I don't think it's the best thing in the world just because I bought it. You know, I got it for free. I'm going to tell you honestly how it is, if it's worth it to me, if it's not. Now this video isn't going to be a full review of this. I'm just going to be showing it to you guys for what I can see whenever I go to install it, and I actually hear what it sounds like. That's a little bit of a hint. Whenever I hear what it sounds like and, you know, see whether or not the car makes power with it on there, I'll give you guys a little bit more of a review at that point in time, tell you guys if I like it. Right now it's just me looking at it for what it is, so I can only show it to you guys and go from there, but let's get to it. All right guys, and in the box we have a BBK Coyote Swap X pipe. I'm gonna get it out of the box real quick and set it here because I only have one hand and I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time, so give me a second. This is the BBK Coyote Swap X pipe. As you can see, the logo that is welded onto the side of it. It is catted. That's what these little bump outs here are for. They're pretty small cats, so I'm not worried about them restricting the flow too much. If I was the one to pay for this, I probably would try and find an off-road X pipe, but it's not the easiest thing to find nowadays with the EPA moving in the direction that they are. Sucks for all of us car guys, but I will be using it since though I got it for free. I won't complain, especially if I ever move to a state that has emissions testing in the future. They'll help me out a little bit. I'm sure that the Coyote will get better emissions in general than the 4.6 that came out of this. So for the year of 99, I should be safe either way, but it doesn't hurt to have them. But yeah, the quality of it seems pretty good. The welds aren't bad. I know some people have mixed reviews with BBK, but I had BBK shorty headers on the 4.6 that was in there, and they seemed to be pretty good. They didn't have any leaks or any issues. Whether or not they picked up any power, who knows. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, that's the X-Pipe. That'll be going into the car. So that's going to wrap up this video. If you guys are liking this, please like and subscribe. Stick with us. There's going to be more to come, and we are going to eventually get this thing done on the dyno and go on this road trip. So please stick with us. See you guys in the next video.